Yeah. So let me give you a short-term answer, long-term answer. And a lot of people are not going to like these, but these are realistic ways that you minimize civilian casualties. You do what America did with the Osama bin Laden raid. We didn't go drop a nuke on Pakistan. We didn't go destroy 6,000 residential buildings in the middle of Pakistan. We sent in special forces. Is it more dangerous to the special forces? Of course. That's the point of special forces. Try to find the hostages. Does it look like Israel's trying to find the hostages? If I have a family member that's a hostage, I'm disgusted by what Netanyahu's doing now. How do you know they're not in the buildings you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the tunnels you're dropping bombs on? How do you know they're not in the hospitals you're dropping bombs on? So if you want the hostages rescued, every rational human being can agree this is not the way to do it. This is the way to do death and destruction for the sake of death and destruction. It's collective punishment. It's genocide against Palestinians, and the world has to speak out. So my way is not pleasant either. It involves a lot of folks dying on both sides. I understand that. Those are super hard choices. But go find Hamas. Go find the hostages. Go rescue them instead of wantonly, indiscriminately, killing after killing. And let's be honest, when you drop a bomb and a kid's head explodes and a grandmother is incinerated, that is terrorism. Killing 3 times as many civilians as Hamas is terrorism.
So good day, my good people. Please do us a favor by liking this video and also subscribing to this channel if you haven't done so. You know, that alone helps us a lot, and we shall forever be grateful to you. So today I want us to watch this insightful and interesting debate between Piers Morgan and Cenk Uygur. I think Cenk is the founder of TYT, the Young Turks, and he's also a presidential hopeful. So let's hear what he had to say about the ongoing issue between Israel, Hamas/Palestine.
I've been following your tweets with interest this week. You've been getting increasingly angry, I think it'd be fair to say. You said, I'm now enormously frustrated by US and Israeli government's barbaric acts in Gaza. I will not be shy in sharing that opinion on Piers Morgan's show today. Why are you so frustrated?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't expect the framing that you put on this segment, and it's framing like that. That's disgusting. So I don't see what this has anything to do with anti-Semitism. I formed Young Turks and TYT with 2 Jewish friends who are some of my friends growing up. We've known each other and been brothers for over 40 years now. So I think what Hamas did is disgusting. I cry for those Israeli innocent civilians. But do I see you guys crying for Palestinians? I mean, Chris Christie was just on here treating it like it's no big deal because what, Palestinian lives don't matter? I think the real bigotry here is saying that Palestinians, we can kill 3 times as many of them already. And this is the appetizer. Netanyahu and his barbaric government have not even started the entree of murder and death and mayhem they're about to do. And that's somehow okay, killing 3 times as many Palestinian civilians, let alone the occupation, which is bigotry by definition. We say that everyone in the world can defend themselves, can have their own state, can have sovereignty, except the Palestinians. And the reasoning behind that is the Palestinians are what? They're what? The idea is that they are savages and that Muslims are too violent and cannot control themselves, so they must be occupied for 56 brutal, disgusting years. So I've had enough of the bigotry against Muslims and Palestinians, and I need you to speak out against that instead of covering every outrageous, atrocious action of the right-wing government of Israel and go, oh, it's anti-Semitism. No, and there is global anti-Semitism. There's anti-Semitism here in this country. 2 synagogues were shot up, Pittsburgh and in Southern California. We fight against that all the time. But then whenever Israel is criticized, people go, oh no, it's anti-Semitism. No, there's real anti-Semitism.
Okay, Jake, let
and
me respond.
Instead of attacking that, all you guys ever do is hide behind the veil of anti-Semitism. Do you know why Palestinians might not like Israelis? Because they've been oppressed for 56 straight years.
I hear you. And let me respond. A, I'm not you guys. I don't think I fit into any neat fit on this issue at all. B, I've actually covered this story, I think, more fairly than most people. I've had many pro-Palestinian voices I've given a huge platform for. They've been getting enormous audiences, from Bassem Youssef to others. And I've done that quite deliberately because I think these voices are important to be heard, including yours. I certainly wasn't accusing you, by the way, or your organization of anti-Semitism. I just think I have found it, as somebody who's always identified as liberal myself, I've found it very dispiriting to see people who call themselves liberals whose instant response, it seemed to me, to one of the worst terror attacks we've ever seen was to immediately side with the place where these attacks had been launched from. Now, I don't tar all Palestinians with the brush of being Hamas at all. And in fact, the sooner Hamas are out of there, the better for the Palestinian people and the world. But I just think the only human response you can have is, as you did, by the way, to your credit, is it was disgusting what happened on October the 7th. Now, the question then becomes, what is a proportionate response by Israel? Not just to the terror attacks of October the 7th, but obviously there is now a huge ongoing escalation in what has been, as you rightly say, a 56-year war, effectively, in varying degrees over that period. And that's where I think I'm struggling to see how a ground invasion by Israel, with all that would entail, particularly mass deaths of Palestinian civilians, how that is going to do anything for any peaceful resolution to this. I think it will have the opposite effect.
Yes. So let's take it one at a time. First of all, as you rightly point out, on Young Turks, we covered the atrocious actions of Hamas right from the get-go, and we condemned it as fully as anyone can possibly condemn it. Because not only are they killing those poor, innocent Israelis that didn't do anything, those little babies and the grandmothers, it's disgusting what they did. But on top of that, they're ruining the Palestinian cause. They've burned the moral high ground to cinders. And then on top of that, they smear all people of Muslim background like myself. And then it unleashes this bigotry of anti-Muslim bigotry throughout the world that I'm sick of. So screw Hamas and their barbarism, okay? Now, in terms of a proper reaction, yes, you need to get those hostages out. So now let's look at I'm going to suggest what to actually do. I'm going to be constructive. But first, let's look at the unconstructive solution that Israel had. Dropping bombs on residential buildings. 50 ambulances have been hit. 10 out of 25 hospitals don't operate anymore. The incubators are about to run out of energy. There's 45 babies that might die today. The parents I just read on CNN are writing the names of the kids on their calves, on their legs, so that if they are killed in a bombing and they're mutilated, they could find their bodies. Imagine writing the name of your child on their legs so that you could find them in the rubble after Israel or any government drops a bomb on them. And I need the West to understand something. Bombs kill people. And do you know how they kill people? They incinerate them alive, or their heads explode. So what happened in Israel was a disaster and disgusting. But you have to be equally honest and equally outraged at the immorality of incinerating babies and grandmothers and aunts and uncles, which is what we're doing right now. America cannot keep sending aid for death and destruction. Enough of the occupation. End it today. End it today. It's monstrous. Okay, I'm going to get to the constructive solution.
It's hardly to see someone talk about something with so much passion. I have watched the Young Turks for a very long time now, and I regularly watch Anna. Yeah, Anna is one of my favorite hosts on the Young Turks. And I love their show. I love the way they do a balanced argument on their platform. And sometimes you can see that when Uygur said something that Anna does not approve of, she is going to share her argument. She's going to dispute it, and then she's going to put a counter argument to what Jack said. So I think that platform has a balanced argument. They are not like we are on the same camp, so we all have to agree on everything. There are things they disagree, and they made that very clear on their platform. That's why I like watching them. What Jack is saying here is very correct. Because how do you expect to get peace in the Middle East when you go bombing Gaza? That's what Israel will tell you, that we want to have peace. We want to live side by side with Palestinians. And we want to make sure that the incident that took place on the 7th of October never, ever happen again. That is what they tell us. And then they proceed with bombing Gaza. When you do that, do you think that you actually create peace with the Gazians or make them hate you more? Do you think that you can explain this to a 17-year-old whose parents have been killed? That all what we wanted to do was to make sure that Hamas never had the ability to do what they did? Do you think that you can explain this to a 10-year-old who is grieving the loss of his or her family, that Hamas was responsible, that the reason why we bombed your parents was because Hamas attacked us and killed 1,400 of our people, and you expect them to come to your side? So you think that all of a sudden they are going to just like you? Now, America bombed the hell out of Iraqis and out of the people in Afghanistan for like 10 or plus years. And when they left, those places were in total ruin. Israel is doing the same thing in the name of eradicating Hamas, whatever that means. And according to them, they believe that that goal can be achieved by just dropping bombs on every single building in Gaza. They are going to achieve that, which I think that is a very, very, poor way of thinking. Or maybe they just don't want to eliminate Hamas, but just eliminate the whole of Gaza. Maybe that might be their main reason why they would drop thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bombs on Gaza without considering who get hit, without considering the number of so-called collateral damage. This is really sad. And I hope the world is paying attention to this. I hope they are really watching. They are really paying attention, because it looks like sometimes certain people and their lives do not really matter. For me, it feels that way, because if America, that is the champion, so they say, of free speech, human rights, and the freedom and all the good things they claim to embody, will sit there and support what Israel is doing. I mean, the government, not the people. Let me make that very clear. I mean, the government of Joe Biden supporting what Israel is doing without even considering how many people are going to be killed in their airstrikes. What kind of human right do they really practice, or do they really claim they have? Don't the lives of Palestinians matter? Shouldn't we be thinking, or at least pretend to be thinking, about the lives of the Palestinians? It's shameful.